The movie starts with a young girl named Wen who is collecting grasshoppers in the woods outside the cabin. Soon after, Wen is approached by a large man who claims he is there to be her friend. The stranger, named Leonard, helps Wen with the grasshoppers while asking her questions about herself. We quickly learn that she is there with her two dads, Eric and Andrew. Throughout their conversation, Leonard keeps looking at the woods. He reveals to Wen that his heart is broken about what he has to do, as 3 more people emerge from the woods, carrying all sorts of weapons. Scared, Wen rushes to the cabin, while Leonard tells her that she has to let them into their cabin, and that her dads will have to make the toughest decision yet. As Wen enters the cabin, she quickly finds Eric and Andrew, and tells them to get inside, as scary people are trying to get inside. Confused, Eric and Andrew ask Wen what happened, and she explains to them there are 4 people, one of them being Leonard, who told her they have to help them. All of a sudden, they are interrupted by knocks on the door. Leonard tells them through the door they have to let them in, as they need to speak directly to them. Eric asks them to leave them alone, but Leonard won't budge, saying they are there to save a lot of people. In the meantime, Andrew tries to call the police, but there is no dial tone. Since they refuse to open the door, the strangers begin to break the windows and get inside. As Sabrina gets inside, she gets into a fight with Eric, and she knocks him unconscious. Andrew quickly tries to fight Redmond and succeeds, but quickly enough, Leonard and Adriana enter the cabin and ask Andrew to stop. Soon after, both Eric and Andrew end up tied up, as Leonard explains that they are there to stop an apocalypse from happening. And the only way to do it is with their help. Leonard continues to explain that their family must choose to sacrifice one of them to prevent the apocalypse. After making the impossible decision, they'd have to kill the one they choose. But if they fail to do it, the world will end. Andrew quickly refuses to do so, but Leonard explains that each and every one of them has had visions of what will happen if the world were to end, and that's what led them together to this cabin. Eric and Andrew still suspect that the group is lying. Redmond then sits on his knees and covers his head. He says humanity has been judged, and they have beat him to death before Leonard finishes the job. Afterward, Leonard drags Redmond outside as Sabrina cleans the mess. Upon getting back inside, Leonard puts the TV on and shows a report of mega tsunamis, which Leonard declares is the beginning of the apocalypse. They see footage of the waves, and Adriana and Sabrina quickly smash that like and subscribe button. Oh, but no, in all seriousness, they confirm it's what they saw in their visions. Leonard then gives the family until the morning to make a decision. A moment later, Wen manages to escape the cabin and run towards the woods, but she is stopped by Leonard, who picks her up and brings her back. Inside the cabin, Andrew gets a flashback in which he recognizes Redmond as Rory O'Bannon, a man who had assaulted him at a bar a year ago, which resulted in Rory being imprisoned. Due to this, Andrew questions whether Rory tracked him down for revenge. The next day, Leonard is determined for the family to make a decision. During this, Eric tries to free himself with a knife, as Adriana tells him that she is next, and she counts on him to save her. Eric tells her to walk out, but she tells him she has a son, and she had to watch him die over and over again in the past few days. Andrew tells them they won't do it. Then, Adriana sits on her knees and covers her head, and says part of humanity has been judged before they sacrifice her. Leonard quickly moves her body. They turn on the TV and see a report that there's been an outbreak of the X9 virus, which is extremely fatal to children. Eric tells Andrew he saw a figure in the light behind Redmond a moment before he was struck. Eric tries to get him to calm down, saying it's all due to the stress. He further explains that he had read about the X9 virus and that it isn't a plague. All of a sudden, Wen screams, saying she wants to see her cartoon. Leonard tries to calm her down, but she continues screaming, which allows Eric to free himself and try to attack them. In the meantime, Andrew also frees himself and runs to his car, but before entering, Sabrina knocks him down. He ends up throwing soil in her face and locks himself inside the car, where he grabs his weapon. Sabrina asks him to get out, but he shoots at her and tells her to back off as she quickly runs towards the woods. Andrew quickly runs to the cabin and tells Leonard to drop his weapon. Leonard tells him he is dooming them all and that it's time for the next sacrifice. Andrew tells him he is taking his family and leaving, but Sabrina then comes running towards Andrew. At that moment, Andrew shoots her and kills her. Leonard then covers Sabrina's head and asks Andrew once again if he's willing to make a sacrifice. When he says no, he finishes Sabrina. Andrew then finds Redmond's wallet and proves to Leonard he is Rory. Andrew tells Leonard that they will lock him in a bathroom, and since their car tires were slashed, they'd search for the group's truck and use it to run away. As soon as they lock Leonard in the bathroom and close the door, they hear glass breaking. Moments later, as Andrew opens the door, he sees the window broken and Leonard was nowhere to be found. Suddenly, Leonard jumps him from the shower and ends up taking his gun. He then asks them to put the TV on so they can be convinced. As they turn on the TV, they see numerous planes crashing around the world. After seeing this, Eric says that the skies will fall and crash on Earth. The reporter then says that there have been around 700 reported plane crashes without any warnings. Even after seeing this, Andrew isn't convinced, but Eric asks him to think if today is simply a coincidence. Andrew still doesn't believe it, and Leonard asks them to get on the back deck as he wants to do the last part outside. As they get outside, Leonard tells them that when he is gone, they'll only have a few minutes to stop everything. He then says all humanity has been judged before ending his own life. After his death, lightning causes fires and more planes to crash. Eric is now convinced that the events are real. Andrew believes him, but he insists they all should leave. Eric explains to him that each member of the group represents aspects of humanity. Redmond was malice, Adriana was nourishment, Sabrina was health, and Leonard was guidance. They were the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Not wanting Wen to grow up in a destroyed world, Eric offers to be the sacrifice, but Andrew refuses. At that moment, Eric tells Andrew that during Redmond's sacrifice, he had a vision of Andrew and adult Wen living a peaceful life. Eric says that he has found his peace and takes Andrew's hand so he can shoot himself. After Andrew mourns his husband, he goes to Wen. As they are reunited, lightning strikes the cabin and sets it on fire. The two of them start walking, and they find the group's truck. They get inside, and in the back seat, Andrew sees that the group was exactly who they say they were. Andrew and Wen drive to a crowded diner, where they watch reports confirming that the disaster has been resolved. Planes have landed safely, and the death toll from the virus has slowed down. As they return to the truck to leave, Andrew turns on the radio, and the same song plays as the one Eric had played for them on their drive to the cabin. Both of them ride toward an uncertain future. Subscribe for more videos like this, and turn on the notifications so you never miss any of them.